Nobody would have thought that I would be the one. Reiner, sports talk. Baseball, 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 baseball.
Oh, with the big mic. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
We got a lightning strike, boys. What happened over there, Grego? We had a little lightning strike right outside the window.
The Texas Rangers win the World Series.
All right. Here's a tip for all these Americano League teams.
Wait, you said tip?
Yeah, tip.
Okay.
With a P.
Keep jamming.
The ticket, colon, nothing but a big Gen X jerk-off sale.
This is a cool night or what?
Although somebody would hear that and go, bullshit.
I'm back, outrageous.
Well, ring-a-ding-ding, boys and girls, and Heidi to you. Sorry. Not up to a good start here. Take 2 in 3, 2, 1. Well, ring-a-ding-ding, boys and girls, and Heidi to you and yours. And guess what? It is another go-around of your dark companion. We are live at 5 for the Live at 5 crew out there. Feel you, man. And we hope the day is rolling out just as you would wish that it would. We are here inside the nurturing biosphere of the mothership, along with Shoopy, Ashley, Becca. My name would be Mike Reiner. And today, we have a second timer with us today. A guy making his most recent swim through YDC. We're always glad to have him because not only is he a genius. Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't go there.
Oh, yeah.
You told us to say that.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did. He did. But he is one groovy cat in every sense of the word. I mean, you hang around him and you kind of let everything down. You know, you kind of, okay, everything's all right here for a few minutes.
Yeah, I was nervous before the show, and then Tim showed up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All
There's
good.
a calmness that
Straight
comes
as an
with
arrow.
my storm.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. He is the great Tim DeLaughter.
Yes.
Now, you have known him over the years as being the front man for Tripping Daisy, which does still function from time to time.
Definitely. This summer we did a tour.
And you probably know him a little bit better in that same role with the Polyphonic Spree, which is a far-flung enterprise if ever there was one. And I got to tell you, every time I go see the Polyphonic Spree, I'm watching the show, but I'm kind of toggling back and forth between the fantasy and majesty of the show and that part of me that is in the real world all the time going, man, what does it take to pull this off?
I'm the same way, where I'm watching, the crew moving around on stage, everybody, maybe moving to different instruments or getting on the stage, off the stage. It's fascinating in so many different ways going to a spree show.
It's a lot of work.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
How many spree shows do you do a year?
Honestly, not that many. We do a bunch of one-offs, although we did a tour the year before last. I was saying we did a tour, a Tripping Daisy tour this past summer, and we're kind of toggling back and forth with doing a UK tour for the spree in late spring right now. But we have the big show coming up here pretty soon. But not that many shows, The spree probably does maybe 10 shows a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
That hasn't always been the case, though, right?
No, we used to tour extensively.
Yeah.
We'll do a lot of one-offs in certain areas and in a tour occasionally. But, we're probably going to be ramping it up here pretty soon. So I've got both bands going. So the plan is to keep them both moving.
Wow. What does it take to pull off a spree tour? I'm going to go out on a limb here and just suggest that there's a little bit more to it than throwing a couple of, Les Pauls and a couple super reverbs in an Econoline van and taking off.
Yeah, it's kind of a feat, you know. You need a lot of money because you have to you got to travel these people. You know, we used to, when we first started, there was 28 people in the band, and which was absurd. But we would, you know, the band actually broke in the UK. I don't know if I talked about that before, but the first time we left Texas as a band was to go to London to play David Bowie's Meltdown festival. He had us on his bill. And so the band literally took off in the UK. So we spent probably almost 4 years over there touring nonstop. And it was 2 double-decker buses that we were traveling in, and it was insane. A lot of coordinating and a lot of money, and we rent a lot of gear over there.
Yeah.
So we don't have to fly with our gear, but yeah, it's a feat, you know. But you know, it's not as tough as, you know, people think. It's like, you know, I look back at some of the Tripping Daisy tours that we did back in the day, and those seem way more difficult than the Spree. The Spree takes a big footprint, but everyone's pretty cool and kind of keeps up with their own stuff, and we move like a small band, believe it or not. Everyone's pretty on top of it, and we navigate pretty well. So other than the expense of it, you know, what it takes to, you know, do the infrastructure of the band, everything else is all right.
How do you coordinate practices or making sure you know which members? Do you generally have the same members for every show on a tour, or does that still kind of, you know, they'll kind of switch in and out with? For the most part,
the people have kind of been with us for a while now, and we have a few people in the string section that we sub out every now and then. Some people can't do the shows, and a lot of people have gigs that you have to be kind of flexible for that. But we have a core group of us that get together and rehearse, like we're getting ready to start here pretty soon, and it's Poppy and Nick and Dylan and Jason and Mark. And
this is probably the rhythm section you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's Poppy's on keys and Jason drums and Mark Pirro bass and Nick on guitar and Dylan on guitar and Ryan on guitar and myself. And we get in there and just kind of get the core of the music going, and we rehearse that out. And then about a few days later, then the orchestral instruments will join in, and they'll do a couple of rehearsals with everybody in there. So it's usually the core first, and we kind of lay the groundwork out, how it's going to be, transitions, and then we bring everybody else in. And those guys are professionals. They just come in and just, you know, go for it. It's pretty awesome.
Are they reading sheet music generally? Or?
Yeah, they are. We'll have it sent out prior. On some of these songs, they already know it, and they have it already on their tablets and know what to play. And then on new songs, we'll have it transposed and, you know, written for them. So I don't do that. My good friend Buffy Jacobs does it, who was a cellist in the band, and she lives in New York now, but she helps me out with a lot of that stuff.
And the rhythm section stays the same all the time?
It's always the same, yep. Jason and Mark.
Wow.
Jason Garner on the drums and Mark Pirro on the bass.
Yeah.
And Mark was, of course, in Tripping Daisy.
Yeah. Any other Tripping Daisy people ever cross over into Polyphonic?
In the Polyphonic land? You know, Dylan Silvers plays in Spree and in Tripping Daisy. He was an original member of Tripping Daisy, but Brian Wakeland will come back every now and then and play in the Polyphonic Spree when Jason can't do it.
Yeah.
So kind of get a little bit of both. Brian was a drummer for Tripping Daisy. You should get Brian Wakeland in here. He's an amazing songwriter. The guy's, musically, he can kind of do it all. He's funny. He's been in our scene forever. He used to be the drummer for Fever in the Funk House back in the day, in the early days. But he is a great songwriter that a lot of people don't know that about him. But he was the drummer for Polyphonic Spree and for Tripping Daisy. And he's just an all-around great guy and a killer songwriter and very interesting and funny. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Shoopy?
He's on the list now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it is pretty cool. Like, y'all have had some pretty good members, throughout the years. Like,
Yeah.
the obvious one, I think, is Annie Clark, St. Vincent, who's just one of my favorite guitar players to watch.
Yep.
She's just phenomenal. I know her friend Taylor Young, I believe.
Yep.
Drummed with y'all.
Yeah, Taylor joined us we just recently did a couple of shows of, we had a record called Together We're Heavy, which was our second record, and we decided to do a couple shows playing it in its entirety. And Taylor was the percussionist on that record, so he came back and played on those recent shows.
His butt was in that seat previously.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been a guest on the show before.
Yep.
Yes, he has.
That's how we like to say it.
Got a low voice.
His butt was
Good
in that
voice.
seat.
He does have a low voice.
Yeah.
So did this all start with you, doing Tripping Daisy and everything like that? And it was going along, it was doing about what you wanted it to do, but then you just started having a bigger vision and started wanting more, or was that bigger vision always there? Or
Well, it kind of started it totally started in Tripping Daisy when we would go and record. This band, the musicianship in in Tripping Daisy started to happen. It happened in front of everybody, but in the studio, we really did kind of blossom pretty fast in that regard. And I think it was on the second on Jesus Hits Like the Atom Bomb, which was the second to the last record, Tripping Daisy. We'd spent 2 months in Woodstock at Dreamland Studios, and that's where we recorded that record. And we did it with Eric Drew Feldman, who had worked with Deus. He was in the band Captain Beefheart, in The Residents. Super, super guy. He eventually recorded some Polyphonic Spree. But it was that experience where it was like we kind of had every instrument that we could play at our disposal in this place. And so creatively, we were kind of going places. And I think it was there when I started thinking about the Polyphonic Spree, where, wow, I would like to have, flute would be cool here, or some strings would be cool here, but it didn't have it. And then I think that's when I started like, man, what would it be like instead of one person singing, 10 people singing as one? And, instead of just having guitar, bass, and drums and a keyboard, what about having some symphonic instruments, strings, horns, and a choir? And I started going, wow, what if that was just a band? Like, not you go at them for a record, but you actually have a band that is all of those things. And so that's kind of where it started.
so the more you thought about it,
Yeah, I thought this could be a freaking band. I mean, why not, But more or less, it was like, I want to know what this sounds like. Like, what would it be if you could make a band what would that sound like, So then I was kind of just thinking about the sound, and I thought, I'm deep in Tripping Daisy at this time. I had no interest in starting a band like that, but I thought this will be something I'll do much later in life. Like, this will be something I'll settle down, and not necessarily I wouldn't even be in it. It'd just be something I'd put together, and I'd want to sit back and listen. And it was more or less I kind of got obsessed with what that would sound like, and kind of like putting that together. Well, Tripping Daisy went on, and unfortunately, Wes, my good friend and guitar player, passed away. And I said, I'm done with Tripping Daisy for now, and took some time off. And I thought, why don't I try this idea that I had? And so just started thinking about it. And my good friend Chris, I had been writing songs, and Chris Penn, I said, hey man, I'm booking a show with Granddaddy, and what about you open up Polyphonic Spree? And I didn't even have a name yet for it. I didn't even have the members of the band, and I had 2 weeks to put it together.
Oh my God.
So put it together in 2 weeks, and we played our first show opening for Granddaddy at the Gypsy Tea Room. And yeah, I can't believe it happened, but we did it.
How many were in the band that night?
I want to say 20, probably 24. something like that.
It's just so absurd.
It was. It was a lot of people in the choir. There was guys and girls in there. It was real radical. It was almost like the Muppets being singers. It was not, we weren't refined at all, which was kind of charming in a way because it was so raw of what this idea was. But I had to abandon my idea of like not being in the band. I obviously had to play the songs and get the guys, involved and play so that everyone could do their part. So I ultimately became a part of it. But we just rehearsed all the time, and we made it happen, and it was crazy, beautiful. It was awesome.
How close was what happened that night to the idea of it that you had in your head at the time?
So I kind of got to experience it in the rehearsals, like I would, when we were playing together, it was like, oh my gosh, I would just kind of stop and like, oh my God, this is so cool because, normally when you're rehearsing, you got your same four guys, guitar, bass, and drums. You kind of know the world you're in. And now all of a sudden it's happening, but I have the dynamics and the subtleties of these refined instruments that are in there that are accompanying it. And then it's not just me singing, it's a bunch of people singing. And all of a sudden it's just like, wow. I mean, I'd have some moments where I'd have to just stop and like overcome with kind of, wow, this is special. It's just hitting me, just experiencing it, for myself.
Yeah.
So it was close, but I'll tell you what I wasn't planning on was that, the sound was there and it evolved and it got more and more powerful. The more comfortable everyone got and the more confident we got as a group, as a moving group. But what I didn't plan on was the amount of energy and spirit that would come from playing that music with people that would have their own way of expressing themselves playing it. So you're playing this kind of grandiose music, but you're also you're hearing it from these people that are expressing it, and there's just this kind of spirit that would come across that none of us were thinking about. And you got that many people on the same page kind of playing the same stuff, and all of a sudden you got this force that's going around the room, and that's hitting people, and they're receiving it, and you're putting it back, and it's kind of crazy, Did
you discuss that with, somebody in the band that you may have been a little bit closer to than others, or anything like that, or did you just back off and let it roll?
I did. I mean, it just kind of, you just kind of let it do its thing.
Yeah.
Of course, it's at the beginning, it was more kind of me fumbling through ideas and giving people, the band was built on the premise of everyone had to improvise.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't, I didn't study theory. I wasn't able to write the music out. So people had to be able to improvise. So even some parts were like, unless I had a strong idea about something, the parts were improvised by people. And so they would just kind of play along, and it would either work or it wouldn't, but most of the time it would work, and we just kind of went with it. But I think we all would, when we were going through it and as we're, playing in front of people, I think we all at the end of the night would like, wow. I mean, we all knew something was special that was going on, but you didn't talk about it. You just understood it, and you knew it was happening when you were in it. And like I said, once we were doing it more and more, we became really good at what we did. And it was seeing the Polyphonic Spree live is kind of like nothing else out there. It's got its own place that it lives in, which is special.
Yeah, you never forget being at a Spree show.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great things that have happened with that group, and it's taken us all over the world. That's another thing people, when I first did it, my family was like, Tim, it's a great idea, but you're never going to get this out of Dallas. And, you got a family now, and you got to, I was having kids, and we were struggling financially, and it was probably the worst idea at the time financially. It didn't make any sense to anybody. But what's strange about it is something I kind of learned about myself is that I kind of saw it happening before it happened. And I did the same thing with Tripping Daisy. I kind of saw that happening before it happened. And in my mind, it kind of already had happened. I'm just on my way to get there. And so it didn't really faze me that people thought that way. I already saw it. And of course it played out and it happened. And I know that sounds like I'm, I don't know, being egotistical.
It kind of sounds like I would expect it to sound.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I'm just kind of, it's really like that. I kind of saw it. I knew it was happening. I knew it was going to happen, and it did. And I had experienced that before, so I knew that about the spree. And so, but yeah, it took off, and we left Dallas, and of course my family was like, I can't believe you you did it. I'm like, well, I told you it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was a difficult pitch or how that conversation might have gone with the family trying to say, hey, we're packing up and I'm going to play in a band with 28 people and we're going to tour the world, hopefully.
Yeah, and even the people in the band, I'm sure their family members were going, what are you doing, you know? But and what was so great about it too is a lot of these people that were in the band at the very beginning, they never had a shot to be in a rock band or to do anything like that. You know, these people were, you know, playing in their bedrooms or, you know, maybe playing with songs and stuff, but never thought they could be in a rock band. And now they're touring all over the world playing like that. Because that was kind of post-grunge. That music wasn't even, nothing was going on like the Polyphonic Spree when it came out. And so it was kind of, for them, there was a real excitement for them. Some of these people had never been outside of Texas, and now they're in the UK and Europe, and you know they're playing David Bowie's Meltdown Festival, and it's just like huge stuff going on out of the box. And so I think that also added to the enthusiasm and spirit of the band. People just couldn't contain themselves, like they can't believe that they're doing what they're doing, and we were all in these pinch me moments, but.
Was there one watershed moment for you where you had that, I guess, that eureka flash of, okay, now I know, now I see it. This is going to work.
Well, I kind of had it before, like, you know, I had it before we even, I kind of had it before we even played our first show, but what really made me feel it was we were in the UK, we planned that particular festival, the Meltdown Festival, and I've talked about this before, but it's kind of a watershed moment. We were playing that show with Divine Comedy, and it was in this beautiful Royal Festival Hall, this beautiful theater, and in the middle of our performance, the power goes out, and up until that point, the audience was like this, you know. They couldn't quite wrap their heads around what was going on. I mean, come on, we were all wearing white robes. We're from Texas. You know, we're singing this, you know, really overzealous music, and we're I'm out there doing my thing, and it was a lot to take in. They didn't quite know how to take it, so we hadn't quite won the audience over. And the power went out, which is kind of your worst nightmare. But there was just one light that was lining up on the stage, and it was coincidentally on me. Everything else is in the dark, and there's no power. And it was awkward there for a second, and I just kind of turned around and I said, I told the band, I said, you guys that are on handheld instruments, I go, we're going to play Diamonds, and it's a song off Together We're Heavy. And I go, I'm just going to sing it a cappella, and then the choir, you can join in, and we're just going to do it. And so I kind of closed my eyes, and I start the song off vocally, but I didn't have any music, so hopefully I land in the right key. And I did, so I start singing it, and then what instruments are playing along, they're playing along, we're in key, we're in tempo, and the choir's back there just kind of listening, and they're kind of fidgeting, they don't know we're all kind of freaking out, because you can imagine it's a full theater, and it's like having your clothes ripped off. You're like, oh my God, this is our shot, and it's being interrupted by this. But So I start singing. I'm belting it out there. Close my eyes. I'm just singing. And right before, when we're going through the song, and right before it hits the chorus, the power comes back on. The band's still playing, and they hit on that note on the start of the chorus. It crescendos in this massive chorus, and we're belting it and just picking up.
Of course it did.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the place erupts. Everyone stands up, starts screaming, applauding, and we finished the song, and we had them from that moment. And it was one of those times that it was like, holy shit, man! Like, the worst possible thing that could have happened to us turned out to be the best thing that could have happened to us, because after that moment, we had every label in the country trying to sign the band just from that particular show, because they were all there. There was a buzz about the band, but there wasn't much known about it. But I remember after that, everyone's going, you know, when y'all stopped it and just did it a cappella like that, and you sang this, you got to do that was amazing. It's like, dude, the power went out. We had no freaking control over that.
My ass.
Yeah, that was, you know, yeah. I luckily had a robe on. It was not good. It was rough. But man, we pulled it off and you know, killed it. And so that point on, at that moment, everything was different for this band, for sure.
It's a good thing you didn't just knock the mic stand over and walk off stage on Puff and Puff.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd
That's, you know, and that's what I learned, you know. We always get better with age. And Tripping Daisy, I'd have things like that, and I'd lose my shit being young, and what's going on over there, you know, and you're just... And it's
Were you a young hothead?
I'd get there, you know. I could surely get there, for sure.
I mean, I you know, not that I know you real well or anything like that, but it's real hard for me to imagine.
Oh, I can get
Tim
there.
as a young hothead.
Oh, I can get there. Believe me.
we'll get you there by the end of this show.
No, we'll be
won't.
fine.
Okay,
We're
no,
fine.
never mind.
But I learned, you know, and that's what you just kind of have to roll with it and make the best of the situation, and that's what we did. We all kind of handled it, and it turned out to be amazing. So,
And
that was a
the
big
thing
moment.
that I keep coming back to when you start talking about we all. To me, we all is like 5 other guys.
Right.
For you, we all is like what 30, 40 other guys,
Couple
something
dozen
like
at
that.
least.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, but like I said, we're a big band, but we move like a small footprint. We're very in tune with our size, and we kind of, you know, we're good.
How hard is it to find people who have the right stuff for this?
You know,
I mean, I got to think that not everybody would. That you probably had some people that you had a little dalliance thinking about this guy or this girl may be interesting, you know, but turns out that they didn't have the right stuff.
yeah, it happens. You know, I haven't had that many that it had. There's been a few in 25 years. There's been a few that just didn't quite work out. The hardest part was at the beginning, and I know putting this band together in 2 weeks, you guys said, how the hell did you do that? But that really was the toughest part, because I thought everybody could improvise on their instrument. I thought, because I just had always done that. I'd played with people that could do that, but I found out that people that play symphonic instruments, majority of them have to have music in front of them, and I didn't know that. And so that was new to me. So the hardest part was finding people. Like I would play with some people, and I'd say, I'm just going to play something. I want you to play along with me. And they'd say what key it is, and I go, I don't know. I'm just going to play, and you just kind of like come along. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'm going to play something, and then you just listen to what I'm playing and just play along. And they go, well, do you have any sheet music? And I'm like, no. I mean, can't you just play? And go, well, I need to know what key and where it changes and all that. And I'm like, I don't know, man. And so it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
And then you'd find some people that I'm going to play, and then you're going to play along, and they're like, okay. And then some could do it. And then I found out that some that had never done it before, I would just just said, hey, I'm just going to play. Just try to play in key with me, all right? And then I'm going to move around and play, and I want you to move around with me. Just do your best. Go, well, I've never done it before, but I'll try. And then they found out they could do it for the first time. So that was kind of cool. But going through that process of finding members that could improvise in the beginning was probably the hardest part.
This is the great Tim DeLaughter. You see him with the Polyphonic Spree. You used to and still do from time to time, seeing with Tripping Daisy. And he is a fascinating conversation, as you can tell. And we'll have more with him in just a second. But right now, Tim, you can relax a little bit.
Okay,
if
great.
You'd like to.
Thank you.
Because it is time for us to stop down for the dreaded and feared mid-show read.
Don't be scared, Tim. It's going to
All
be
right,
okay.
is everybody where they're supposed to be?
Yes.
We haven't moved.
Okay. All right. See, I can do it too. All right. What if I told you? Well, let's not talk about me telling you stuff. Let's talk about the shape that you're in. What if you're out there, you're walking through this world in pain, something hurts, you don't know what it is, you don't know why it hurts, you just know that it hurts, and you know that you would really, really like to get rid of it, because not only are you walking around out there this way, it's keeping you from sleeping as well as you should be able to sleep. That is a real problem. It's one that I experienced for myself not too long ago. You probably wonder what you can do about it, just like I was wondering what I could do about it. Well, what I did, really kind of on a lark because I was out of shit otherwise, I went to see the folks at the CBD House of Healing. Now, you've heard us talk about them before, and I've told you about what they did for me. They have given me stuff that works, stuff that makes me feel better, stuff that makes me sleep better, stuff that makes me function a little bit more like I did just a few years ago, you know? And I will take that any day of the week. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, CBD, he's sending us to a head shop. And you're probably thinking you're going to walk out of there with some zigzags and some incense or whatever and nothing that's going to do you any good. Well, if you go in there and talk to the lady in charge, the great Summer, who is, by the way, a licensed RN, and tell her what's going on, you'll find that she will listen to what the situation is, and there's a greater than zero chance she will have something on hand that will help you out. So go in there, talk to Summer, let her work her magic, because she does listen to you. Like I say, she is an RN. She's very, very good with all this. She sort of brings together the two standpoints from the CBD end and the medicinal end. And she made it work for me. I'll bet she can for you too. The CBD House of Healing is located at Plano Road and Northwest Highway in the northeast quadrant of that burgeoning intersection. Go over there, see it for yourself. Free yourself of pain, anxiety, and sleepless nights. Do it naturally at the CBD House of Healing. They only carry products from their lab. It's all made to meet the highest quality and purity standards. Find your relief from the aches and pains, the emotional stress and drain of this world, and sleep again. The CBD House of Healing is there for you, man. Go see them.
I was like, hot damn, Mike did so good, and then I realized he was scrolling.
No. That was mostly ad lib.
Damn, Mike, that was so good.
That was mostly ad lib.
Damn.
That was
It's
strong.
awesome.
You were just amazing.
Well, thank you.
And I actually mean that. I know it sounds sarcastic.
It does sound sarcastic, and I don't believe it coming from you.
But that's just how Ashley sounds.
Do we have the other here too?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we
At the
do.
bottom of that one.
All right. December 11th,
That's tomorrow.
2025. This will be good for all of you going live at 5 with us, but this is tomorrow night.
And we shall not be going live.
That's right. It is at the Barley House. It is a night of giving moss at the Barley House. It starts at 5:30. It rolls tonight. We're going to be celebrating the 11th annual day of giving moss. Join me and a gathering of supporters, sponsors, friends of Giving Moss for dinner, great Barley House beverages, and the music of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as performed by Little Petite Theft. Now, I know you remember Mike Keating of YDC fame and the story of the hardworking foundation he began. Well, come out December 11th to hear the success stories for yourself and be part of helping Dallas area families rebuild their stability and give them hope during the holidays. Petty Theft Downbeat, 6:30 tomorrow night. So go to givingmoss.org. That's GIVINGMAS, givingmoss.org. Get tickets, and we will see you at the Barley House tomorrow night.
Wow.
That was great.
We're on a roll.
Yeah.
Did we meet with specifications there?
Yeah.
All right.
We're compliant now.
All right, we are compliant.
Sponsors can't get mad at us.
All right, let's get back into the Tim DeLaughter tale.
Let's do it.
Were you always this way when you were a little kid and stuff? Were you like rambunctious in kindergarten, and were you different from all the other kids?
I think I was. Yeah, I kind of always marched to my own beat there. Yeah, I was kind of, my aunt, when I was little, I lived with my grandparents, and my aunt had a band when she was younger, and I'm probably 2-3 years old, and they'd kind of be rehearsing or whatever, their band, and I would be sitting in the middle of the room of them doing it all and kind of being around it. And
was it a rock band?
It was a rock band.
What were they called?
Hot Ice. And this was in Oak Cliff. This was
Oak Cliff.
It was all girl band, and it was my grandparents lived off Poinsettia, and they would rehearse right
up there in Westmoreland Heights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they would rehearse in there, and I'd kind of be in the middle of it. And I was always around it. And my grandmother was a singer in the choir at church, and my grandfather was a preacher. So I'd go to church, and she'd be singing. So I was kind of always around music and all that kind of stuff. And I got into that, early on. I would play with her guitar or whatever as a little kid, and then I eventually got some drums after begging for them for years. And then we moved to a spot where there was this kid that was playing guitar, and he and I hooked up. And so I kind of started playing music early on, and it never left. It just kind of always did it. I wasn't quite sure. When I played in bands all throughout high school, and when I graduated, I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I had to go and kind of figure it out. And eventually I came back and said I should be doing music, and so I've been doing it ever since.
What was the first, for me it was the Beatles, or actually it was Elvis for me.
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid when Elvis first came onto the scene, and then later on came the Beatles. Yeah. What was it for you?
Oh gosh. I'd say it was FM radio in the early 70s. When you're a kid, you kind of get music where you can get it. And I'm saying little kid because I was gravitating to music at an early age. And,
yeah.
But it kind of started with, whenever I got sick, my mom would get those Disneyland storybook records from the pharmacy. And those were kind of like, totally get into those. And I think that's where all the love for the symphonic side kind of came for the Spree. But pop, music that was happening on FM radio was what did it for me. And that was like Wings or, things that were going on at the time. But then when I started playing music, it was kind of like what the kids were into that I could play music with. And this first guy was into Yes, and so it was more proggy stuff.
Oh.
And then
that's starting off high.
Yeah, exactly. And then had like Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, and then I was in another band that was full on metal that did, you know, Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and
Playing drums?
UFO, yeah. An event until I came to the rehearse one day. I mean, I just came to see my friend, and I show up and I hear a band playing, and I'm like, "What's going on? Like, why? Who's in there playing?" And kind of freaked me out because they were playing songs that I play, and I remember the windows were kind of painted, but there was a little crack and where it wasn't painted. I could see in there, and there was some dude in there with a double bass chrome Ludwig drum set. Oh. And my drums were pushed to the side, which was a Blue Sparkle 63 Ludwig, not heavy metal at all. And I'm like, I was crushed. I was like, oh my gosh. And I just kind of turned my back to the garage and slumped down to the ground and was just sitting there in my own freaking pity. And they finished, and I didn't even realize it. And Kendall comes around the corner. He was the guitar player, and he's like, and I'm like, what happened? What's going on? And he goes, man, Joey's got a double bass kid, and man, he's really good. And I'm like, well, God, I mean, like, oh my God. And he goes, but you know what? You can sing. I've heard you sing. Why don't you come in here and sing these songs? We need a singer. And because we had a guy that wasn't very good, and it didn't work out. And so they said, why don't you sing? And I'd never done it. And I'm like, all right. And I came in there, and it just felt really natural for me at that point. And so I became the singer of the band. So I was a singer for Sane and Regency, and those were the two bands. So yeah, that's how I became a singer. Was I got kicked out from being I don't want to say it was a bad drummer. I just didn't have a heavy metal kid. He had a double bass Ludwig, and it looked chrome, and it did look badass, and it was way more heavy metal than mine.
Yeah. What is it? A good carpenter doesn't blame his tools?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's what I say. But come on, you can't play Judas Priest with a blue sparkled Ludwig.
No, that's
kid.
fair.
Blue Sparkle Ludwigs can't hang with double bass chrome.
Yeah, exactly. So
it just can't do it.
But that's where the singing came from, and yeah, I took to it, duck in water. It worked.
So, like, did you make your way through other bands as the singer on the way to the Polyphonic Spree? Or?
No, man. Like I said, I did those bands in high school, and I graduated, and me and a buddy moved to Los Angeles when I was 18, and thought at one point I wanted to be an actor, and wasn't even thinking about music, but I was still jamming every now and then with some friends, but nothing serious. And just floated around for a few years and ended up working at the Hard Rock Cafe. I opened the Hard Rock up when it opened here. I got hired as a bar back, and then started getting kind of like the, feeling of that again, and being around music, like, wow, this is cool, seeing cool bands. And my God, the amount of artists I saw come through there, and the Cheese Club, and the things I got to see would blow your mind. But it was a pretty cool happening at the time when that place opened up. A lot of people don't know about that, but Hard Rock was awesome when it first came on the scene.
Yeah, it was.
It was really cool, and had like everybody who's who would come to that place, and up in the Cheese Club, and some stuff went down that was always entertaining.
My time at the zoo intersected with the Hard Rock and the Cheese Club a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
there's
a lot of good stuff that was going on, and Isaac Tigert was the owner at the time.
Yes.
And he knew how to throw a party and take care of the musicians that would come through, so it was never a dull moment. But anyway, I left there, and I moved to Colorado, and ended up getting a job at a warming hut on the mountain, and I had to ski to work every day, which was a real drag. 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm riding up on a lift. It was awesome. And so I did that, flipping burgers, selling beer and hot chocolate, and they had an open mic there. And one of the buddies I was living with at the time, he moved up there with, he played guitar, and he and I would jam. He would play stuff, and I'd just sing along, improvising. And I said, dude, let's go do this open mic. Let's just go see what happens. And He goes, what are we going to do? And I go, I don't know, just play something and I'll sing. It's an open mic, it's not that much pressure. So we go and do it, and again, we didn't know what we were going to do. I said, just play and I'll just sing. So he played, I closed my eyes and started singing and opened him up, and it was quiet, and then the people went nuts, and it's like, there's that rush, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And so in my brain, I'm going to go back to Dallas and start a band, and that band was Tripping Daisy. And literally got back within a year of getting back from there. I had started Tripping Daisy, and that band happened really kind of quick once it started happening.
And what year was that?
It was I moved back in 89, and in 90, right there at the end of 90 is when Tripping Daisy kind of started to be a band. We played an open mic at Dada, and that freaking went off like gangbusters, and they offered us Thursday night at Trees after one open mic at Dada, and the band took off. Tripping Daisy just immediately, and we knew 8 songs, and it was like we weren't even ready for what was happening. But
now, were these original songs?
They were original songs, but we had a light show going on. I knew that I wanted to have a show for people. So we had this full-on Fillmore light show, 2 oil and water overhead projectors, 460 millimeter projectors and slide projectors, and all these things that can put on a show. So we had that stuff kind of going. Well, relatively almost at the beginning. The first show we just had a slide projector with a sheet up, with that Dada. But we started to grow it faster, and that was with Scott Berman, who did the film you guys saw, The Resolution.
Yeah.
Tripping Daisy hit the ground running, man, and that's where we started writing songs in front of people because we needed more material to keep the night going because we had so many people there, but our show we only knew 8 songs, and so that's when we started writing in front because we could all improvise, and I could come up with lyrics and sing and on the spot. So it just became that. Like a lot of songs on Tripping Daisy records were all written live, but a lot of people didn't realize that, but they were. It was a trip. And it was all out of insecurity of not having enough music. And so it really taught us to we got really good really quick because we weren't ready there were so many bands better than us at the time, but we got there out of necessity.
When you would do that, when you would improvise writing songs like that, and it came time for the next gig, would you play those same songs, or would they all be different? Or
if they stuck that night, we'd kind of recall it. Man, that was pretty cool. We need to remember that, and we'd go back and we'd do it again. And it became these things, well, that went off good again, so let's just keep playing that. And I would kind of work my lyrics out live, I had a general idea what the song was about, and so I'd go back and get in that same space, but then I would change words here and there and develop my story live. And so eventually, I would say about 75% of the songs people hear on those records, those were all written live in front of everyone.
That's insane.
And without anybody knowing about it, they go, "Man, we love that new song, man. You got to do them."
Like, what the hell did we do?
Yeah, exactly. And there was a lot of substance involved back in the day, and so it was tough. There was a lot of songs that were lost, and I
was going to say that this sounds like a deal where you would come up with a song and play it once, and it'd be pretty good, but that would be pretty much it for it.
That happened a lot. We were really prolific in a live state. We played, and once the band got going, this band toured nonstop. And so it became really good at it. But yeah, there were a lot of songs that were lost, and there were songs that I'd get bored of that were really great that I'm done. It'd been there, done it, and we'd move on. They were probably massive hits, but.
All that time, you didn't think to record any of those shows?
It wasn't like that. Today, I've got a phone here that I record all ideas on here, and I'm able to go back and instructional. I'll have the essence of the song, and I'll go back and I can refine it. But
I can imagine where Tim has a time every day, probably right before he goes to sleep, when it's idea time, and he goes back through his phone and spends the next hour and a half just ripping through ideas that he's had that day.
Well, it's not, I have a really weird relationship with songwriting. A lot of people think, oh, he must live with a guitar in his hand. He's always writing. It's not like that at all. I don't even look at it like that. It's real transactional for me. I'll have a guitar sitting there or a piano, and if I feel like it, I'll pick it up and play. If it's there, I'll strum a chord. If something happens, great. If it doesn't, I just set it down and go about my way. And then if something does happen, I just record it, and then I just keep collecting these ideas. But it's not anything I work at. It's just, it's kind of has to be there for me, or I can't sit down and go, I'm going to write a song about this today. It's just not like that. It's either there or it isn't, and I just move on. So I do a lot of other things outside of music. So,
like what?
Well, I'm kind of a handyman, so I do a lot of fixing things here and there and helping people out. But my wife has Lounge Here, which is on Garland Road. It's a good restaurant. If you guys haven't tried it out,
we like food.
And so I do a lot of. I'm kind of the Schneider of that place.
All right.
And then, kind of take care of things here and there and do what I can. Yeah. I kind of am a jack of all trades. I kind of do a lot of different things.
You are is an amazing cat. I mean, there's nobody like you, man.
No, there's plenty. My guitar player, Nick Earl, is a wizard. This guy can do literally anything, not just musically, but he can do anything. This guy, he can build anything. He's an incredible artist. And I look at him, he's a Renaissance guy. He's a wizard. Like, if something were to break that you think you can't replace, he could actually make it exactly how it was, the piece that's broken, or like he's incredible, this guy. I think I've got this. I look at him and I'm in awe of him. So there's definitely people out there that blow my little world away, but I appreciate you saying that.
Can he make a hot pocket so hot that even God couldn't eat it?
I bet if you gave him some time to think about it, he could figure it out. Yeah, he's something else.
All right, what movie is that from?
It was like from some Simpsons book that I read 30 years ago.
There you go.
Do you have a guy that you look at as your right-hand man in the Polyphonic Spree?
Yeah, I look at a lot of people. They're, the core is kind of, those guys are so special, the core of the group. They're all like Poppy Zander, plays the keyboards. You know Poppy.
Yeah, I know Poppy.
She's kind of like, she helps me kind of organize the core. Nick Earl, he and I always riff and talk about things. He's great about stuff. His mind's constantly working in that way. And Mark Pirro and I have been buddies and friends early on since Tripping Daisy. We always, talk about stuff. And Jason Garner and Dylan Silvers was a big help for me on Salvage Enterprise, the latest record, Spree record, because I thought I was going to trash it 4 different times, and he talked me out of it. And so it's like, yeah, I lean on these people. They're very, I hold them dear. Special people.
Yeah. Well, let us tell everybody once again, because it's coming soon. It'll be here before you know it, December 20th at the Majestic Theater, the Polyphonic Spree 22nd Annual Holiday Extravaganza.
22 years of this, baby.
22 years of this bad boy. Whew. That's a lot, man.
It's not Christmas without it.
Or to put that another way, a Dallas holiday tradition since 2003.
There you go.
There you go. All right, doors are at 6. There will be a variety act at 7. The spree goes on at 9, but don't think that that's all that's going to be going on. It's Tim, and there's never just one thing.
It's a show.
It's a show. It's
a variety
scene.
show.
Man.
Everything from like animals to tap dancing grandmas to snowing, 300 pounds of confetti, a 10-foot toy soldier greeting you at the front door, Frosty and Rudolph.
The fact that it started with animals.
Yeah, just animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time there was a Sean Green from the Dallas Zoo used to be our guy.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he's great. And he brought an alligator. He brought a freaking penguin that walked through the freaking. This was at Lakewood Theater when we were doing it there. That's where it first started. Was Lakewood Theater. But the animals he would bring, he flew an eagle, an owl in there from the balcony down. He would bring all these crazy animals, and I'm thinking, oh my God! But it was always so organized, but it felt like wheels off, you know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, he would bring stuff up, or animals up to the radio station.
Yeah,
from time to time
yeah.
for us to check out.
That was generally the highlight of the year.
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
Because you interacting with animals is a hell of a thing.
He's so
Look
cool.
at Penguin.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's kind of Johnny Carson would have those, you know, those zoo people bring the animals on. That's exactly what he was like. Like he would be all like running, you know, it's like this animal's there, and you're like, do you have this together? And it seems like it's going to go awry at any second, but he always had it together.
Well, I can think of few people that we have had here on our little YDC scene that I would rather have on and just listen to them talk and listen to them tell their story and listen to them explain the way they do that thing they do, whatever that thing might be, than you. You are one amazing cat.
Thank you very much.
And I've really enjoyed this, and thank you for doing it. We must have you back, man.
Yeah, I'll come back anytime. I got a lot of stories.
There he is.
There you go.
He is the great Tim DeLaughter.
Thank you.
Everybody go see him.
Yeah, come on out. We just released some tickets and some that we held back, and so it's going to be a fun night.
It's time to start taking baby when all the little kids go down.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It'll be at the Majestic on December 20th, so go check it out. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. All right, that is it for YDC today. We thank you very much for being with us, no matter how or when, in real time or in suspended time or in whatever kind of time you may be in.
Tim
We
DeLaughter
thank you.
time.
Yeah, Tim DeLaughter time.
Yeah.
We thank you very much. What we need you to do is to get us out there. Like us, share us, do that thing on social media, because that's what it's all about these days. You make it happen for us, we will continue to make it happen for you. This has been your Dark Companion. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm gonna go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.